laughter cuts the dark. Uncle Bill's wise and slow. Together they paint a picture only Kentucky folks can know. DEADPIT Radio, where the living meet the dead. In the hollows of Kentucky.
So I've got to lead everybody up on this, because if you don't know, everybody's buddy Garrett and Mel and Justin over at the Rad Pack, they had a special show on Jim Carrey movies. They were ranking the Jim Carrey movies, right? It was I think it was primarily the 90s movies.
Yeah, it was 94 to 99.
And I got in the show a little bit late. I would come in probably 45 minutes late or whatever it was, and I didn't check out the first 45 minutes, so I had no idea. And I always like fucking with them. I don't try to mess with Mel too much, because I've made her mad a few times. I don't mean to. It's just my personality. I promise. But I was like, Truman Show? You got what? Like, I've got the clip. I've got the damn clip, bulls. You want to see it? You want to see what happened here? All right.
Horror adjacent, horror coded.
It has some pretty.
Yo, you don't know what you're talking about. Top 3? Get the hell out! Get out of here, garbage.
No way.
All of us have already said our Truman. It was way
He's
long.
not going to hear
time
Truman
ago.
Show not one time now.
That's a shame. That is an absolute shame.
I was in there the whole time. I'm ready to go, thinking Truman Show's going to be like, and everybody's like top 3 at least, like you were saying.
Right.
Nope.
I understand, like, some people have sentimental favorites. You know, I totally expected Ace Ventura to be up there, Dumb and Dumber to be up there. I would even, I mean, I could see The Mask being up there for some of these people. I don't like it. I mean, I look at Cameron Diaz in it all day long, but other than that, I'm not a fan. And I could even understand if it wasn't their top 3. But that reaction, Foz, I gotta tell you, it pissed me off. It got me all riled up. I don't like people laughing at me, man. So
no, you're going to be the one who's laughing.
So I was like, and I asked a couple people, you know, sometimes, at least for me, I'm a little older than you, I think.
Just 3 years.
Sometimes during the night or whatever, my brains are jumbled and everything, and I say stuff that's, maybe it's not right sometimes. And I'm like, well, people like the Truman Show, don't they? Or is that a movie that people hate? Like, I love it. And it's not like a genre of film that we talk about an awful lot, like Jim Carrey movies, or I don't know if we've ever talked about Jim Carrey movies on a podcast.
Did you ever talk about Once Bitten?
I don't think so. No, I don't think anybody ever really did like a re-release of that or anything either, oddly enough.
Stream Factory, it's on just a split blue.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking it out again, because, you know, Jim Carrey, the popularity of Jim Carrey, you know, hit hard in like the mid-90s, which, I mean, we need to talk about that too. He had a ton of hits up until The Truman Show, which is his first dramatic, you know, big dramatic role at least. 94, Ace Ventura, The Mask, and Dumb and Dumber all in the same damn year. How crazy is that?
That's huge. I didn't realize it was all in the same year until that stream, because when you're younger, you don't even think about stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean, it is pretty mind-blowing. And then 95, Batman Forever, which they put above The Truman Show. What the fuck? Are you kidding me, Garrett?
If I was making a list, I wouldn't have even thought of Batman Forever, because I just don't think about Jim Carrey in that movie.
I try to block out Batman Forever anyway. Like,
it's on my top Tommy Lee Jones movies.
You want to hear something funny, though? I did find Batman Forever at the Goodwill for $1. The 4K was $1 at the Goodwill.
Nice.
I was like, I'm getting a 4K for $1. I don't care what it is. And Ace Ventura 2 was 95. Cable Guy was 96. 97, Liar Liar, another huge hit. And the Truman Show, it leads up to the Truman Show. His first, like we were saying. I mean, there's some comedic parts to this for sure, but it's a dramatic movie, a drama overall. Why do you think, I mean, we'll talk about the movie, but why do you think it didn't hit at all with any of, like, I think Justin had it at 7 and he had it the highest of any of them.
I don't know, man. Like, you would think, like, Garrett would have a story similar to ours where it's like, oh, yeah, I just saw that at the right time and it hit me hard. And I always thought better of Jim Carrey after that. Made you reconsider him as an actor. That's for me. It made me see him as a good actor, not just a funny guy.
Yeah. I remember, though, and we'll talk about the movie, our history with it and everything if you want to. You said you saw it in the theater, right?
Yes, sir. It left me thinking for days, I remember, about, like, what if I'm being videotaped? And then you get that paranoid, like, look around when you're on the school bus going to school, like, oh, what if this is a TV show?
Wasn't that movie Ed TV out around the same time?
Yeah, it came out after that. Now that I do have on Blu-ray. I like that one.
Oh, okay. And my history with it real quick too, so I don't. DirecTV cards that got zapped back in the day, and you give you every channel, right?
Yep.
Truman Show was one of those movies that was on constant rotation, and when you're home, mainly over the summer or whatever it was that year, you know, the internet was in its infancy. It took forever to do anything on the internet back then. So I watched all kinds of movies on DirecTV, and the Truman Show was one that I had watched numerous times on DirecTV. And to be honest with you, man, I wasn't a big Jim Carrey fan at all. I mean, not to say, like, you know, Dumb and Dumber's fine, but those aren't movies. Those are just not my type of movies, like Ace Ventura and shit like that. I'm just not into that sort of thing. So I don't know if I would have ever watched The Truman Show had it not been for DirecTV. And from the very first time that I watched this movie, I absolutely fell in love with it. And top to bottom, like, in my opinion, it was an amazing performance from Jim Carrey. I'm shocked. This had 3 Oscar nominations. I'm surprised that he didn't get nominated for Best Actor, at least, in this role.
That's weird. I wonder if he came up at the MTV Awards, because he used to always be on there. The MTV Awards always gave out awards for stuff the Oscars would never think about.
Interesting thing, though, you're talking about the popularity of this movie. On Rotten Tomatoes, this is the most popular Jim Carrey movie, The Truman Show.
I believe it.
But anyway, the movie predates pretty much all of these reality shows, like what did they have, Road Rules?
Road Rules,
back then.
The closest one to it now, I don't watch it, but I know it's still huge, is Big Brother, like where they just watch people living in a house, like, on cameras. I don't know.
Yeah, and they have 24/7 access as well. My brother-in-law's big into that. But this was like, you know, I mean, it was almost like they predicted what would happen.
Right.
And it's not exactly like this, but it's pretty damn close. You know, and that's the kind of thing that makes this movie really interesting to watch now. But Jim Carrey's character, he is Truman, and he kind of has like an ordinary existence on the outside looking in, of course, which everybody does because they're watching him on TV. His life is a reality show or a 24/7. Did they use reality show? I don't think they used that.
They just said it was a 24/7. I forget how they described it, but he didn't know he was being watched. But everyone around him was acting in the moment with him.
Right. And since he was born, I think the story is that he was adopted by this production company so they could start this show. You know, the head honcho, Ed Harris, who was nominated as Best Supporting Actor, by the way, which I didn't know that until I was looking this up. Cool. Created the whole thing, created the whole world, if you will, just a giant set that all these people are acting. They're there for Truman. His wife's an actress who is throwing out like product placement and does shit during the movie where he's like, what are you doing? What are you talking about? Right. And she's talking about, peach flavored drinking water. right, or whatever. But slowly he starts to notice things that's weird. He sees his dad, who supposedly drowned when he was a young kid. He sees like this giant light fall from the sky. Radio frequencies going haywire, where he can hear people following him and the way that he's going to work or whatever. And yeah, just a lot of stuff happens that leads him to believe either he's going crazy or he's being watched and followed, and everything is not as it seems, right?
Right. I always like the best friend. The whole supporting cast was great. The best friend was really cool.
Yeah, I think he does a fantastic job. Noah Emmerich is his name, and Laura Linney was his wife. I think that was the actress's name. She does a fantastic job too. She's been in all kinds of stuff. And then there's his love interest, this other lady that he had met, I think, back in college, and she kind of tried to clue him in on what was going on. And leads up to the end where he's, ultimately wants to escape and faces his fear of water and everything. And, it's a very dramatic movie. But, man, like, I think it's one of the more... honestly, I think it's his best role. I don't think there's anything that's even close. Of course, there's some of these movies that I haven't seen, but I think it's his best performance. And in my opinion, I can see how people maybe could argue that it's his best movie or not or whatever, but definitely I would say it at least top 2 or 3.
Oh yeah, it's my number one. And I don't see how you can watch the Truman Show and not get emotionally invested in it, that by the ending with him trying to overcome his fear of the sea and everything, that you're not like right there with him. Like, even though it's a more of a Hollywood movie and you're going to probably have a Hollywood ending, like, you're invested by that point. You're rooting for him.
And odd as it is, this movie is over 25 years old at this point. Mm-hmm. I think it's 26 years old this year. And it's just due to the fact that what's on TV now. To me, it's very relevant because it's so weird. Like, prophetic, I think is the word, was this movie. And dude, I really think that the Rad Pack need to go back and fucking rewatch this movie. I think that they owe it to themselves. I don't believe that they watched it for that show. No way.
I say that's something that they saw years ago on TBS or something and kind of just blew over. Like, I think if they really sit down with it, they'd like it better.
I think so too. And we love giving them a hard time, or I do. So check out the Rad Pack podcast. It was an interesting show. Even though, like I was saying, I'm not a gigantic Jim Carrey fan. As a matter of fact, The Truman Show may be one of the only movies of his that I own. I may have a couple on DVD. I don't want to say that, but I don't own many. How about you?
Besides Simon Birch that they mentioned on there,
I like Simon Birch too.
I've seen it once a long time ago. I don't remember it that well, but I own all the others either on DVD or Blu-ray. I definitely own Truman Show. I love Man on the Moon. That's great. But they all seem to agree on Cable Guy is really good. And I'm like, yeah, you know what? It is a pretty good movie. Always liked it.
I've seen it. It's been a long time. But, Jim Carrey, his type of comedy is just, even when I was a kid, like, that just wasn't my thing. My friends all loved it. But.
Did you like In Living Color? Because I watched it every week.
Yeah.
It was one of my
Fire Marshal Bill was the big, yeah, everybody loved him. He had an interesting career because, like, he had done movies in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And then got on that show. What was that? Late 80s, early 90s?
It started probably 90, I think, because he had done Earth Girls Are Easy, and it's him and Damon Wayans. Is it Junior? Who? I don't know. Him and Damon Wayans from In Living Color were both on there as the weird aliens with Jeff Goldblum in Earth Girls Are Easy. So I don't know, but I always just assumed that they met each other that way. And when Keenan Ivory Wayans was putting together his show, he was like, "Oh yeah, you too."
Cool. Yeah, I didn't. But his career though, like since since then, he did a lot more dramatic roles. Man on the Moon, which they liked a lot. A lot of them seemed to put that one over, and I like it a lot.
I love that movie.
It's a good movie. So I'm like, what the fuck, man? But yeah, I think Jim Carrey's almost done with like Hollywood movies, isn't he? I haven't seen him, like he did the Sonic movies. That's the last thing I can think that I've seen him in.
They said on that stream, someone typed in the chat that he's doing Sonic 3, which, why not? That's just money. You know, his performance, which I haven't seen him, but from the trailers, his performance in that first Sonic movie at least looked like he was just doing Ace Ventura or something he would have done in 1994 and just collected a paycheck. It's kind of like, I'm done with all this. I'll do the thing you want me to do. Give me my money.
Just give me a ton of money. Yeah.
And why not? You can't knock him for it.
Yeah. No, for sure. It's what it's about. I mean, fuck, everybody makes fun of The Rock for doing all these big budget, like action movies and shit. Look at the fucking money they're giving him. I'd do whatever too. Fuck it. You know. But yeah, I mean, that is The Truman Show. I highly recommend everybody go and check it out. It is on 4K as well. The only version that I have on physical media is this old school DVD, which is good enough for me. But I do have it on Vudu in HD, so I can check it out that way if I wanted to. Give us the thumbs up.
Up you butt.
Like, subscribe. And if you subscribe, here's something else you can do. Once you subscribe, you can click the bell notification, right? And it'll notify you anytime that Dead Pit puts up new shit.
Or don't. I really don't give a fuck.
I want you to. I don't care. Let's keep our community growing here on YouTube.
I don't like it. I don't want you to do nothing.
Listen, they need to do that.
No, don't you dare touch it.
Thumbs up. Subscribe. And click that bell.
There's all kinds of wonderful shirts over at shop.deadpit.com. Simply the best horror shirts. On TeePublic, there are others, but they all suck. You can get some Dead Pit Radio shirts. You can get Last South on the Left. The Hills Have Eyes. Texas Chainsaw. Oh, wait, you can't say Texas Chainsaw. All kinds of shirts, folks. You're gonna love them. Shop.deadpit.com.
Thank you to all of our supporters on Patreon. Deadpit on Patreon.com is the only place to check out a complete archive of the old Dead Pit radio shows all the way back from 2005 on, in addition to the midweek shows, fan commentaries, exclusive podcasts, and much more. Dead Pit on Patreon.com if you're interested. Tiers start at only $1.
We ain't